What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Marcus, and today I want to give you my thoughts and preview on the Georgia versus Ohio State Peach Bowl. But first, I want to get into this clip from the Film Guy Network of Brooks Austin explaining why Ohio State fans need to stop watching the Mizzou game as a blueprint to beat Georgia, because I was at that game and I agree with what he said 100%. Let's get into it.
Y'all notice in pressers how many times Ohio State players have mentioned the Mizzou game?
They love to bring up. They love to bring up Mizzou. They love to bring up Kent State. They don't like to talk about Oregon. They don't like to talk about Mississippi State.
Example for success, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. I mean, that's awesome. If you think you can catch Georgia sleeping, first of all. Right. If you can hope they come out flat. If you also hope that 2 of their first 3 possessions end in turnover in thetheir own end, by the way. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you want to hope all those things happen, that's fine. And here's the deal. I'll get into my prediction now. It's super early for me, but I'm going to hammer it down anyways. I think this is like a 41-34 football game that Ohio State scores late in. Like, I think Georgia is 18 to 20 points better than this football team. And the only thing that makes me, like, when I do these things, I said the same thing about LSU. I said the same thing about Tennessee. And when I say these things, I feel really nervous because we're talking about college football. And all it takes is a couple of early turnovers and some flat football players for this to be like hot takey and stupid. But Georgia is a 14-point better football team than who they are playing Saturday. On tape, they're 20 points better, in my opinion. So that's where I stand. I think there's way too many holes. Like, we can do all the hot take stuff, but Ohio State, A, has to dedicate way too many bodies to the box to stop the run. B, I don't think they have elite defensive back and corner play to really think that they can live in man-to-man coverage, despite the fact that Georgia doesn't exactly have world beaters at receiver. I'm aware of that, but you're also going to have to dedicate bodies to Bowers as well. So I also know that throughout their year, they've really had kind of tough roads with 12 personnel football teams. People put them in 12, they don't really know what to do. Georgia puts teams in predicaments in 12 worse than anybody. Offensively, man, they have a really, really hard time consistently maintaining lanes. Like defensive rush, defensive coverage, they have a hard time maintaining their areas of coverage and their rush integrity, their gap integrity. That's like the worst combination to ever play against Todd Monken. That dude eats those people alive. He eats them alive. If you got corners, safeties, linebackers with their eyes in the wrong spot, he kills you for 4 quarters.
All right, so it sounds like Ohio State's got to do a lot of hoping and wishing in this game. You really got to hope Georgia comes out to a slow start. You got to hope for a couple turnovers early. And when I tell you that Mizzou crowd was rocking, they were ready for the #1 team in the nation. They were ready to go in there and beat Georgia. Georgia had all day to think about this game, man. They came out flat. They thought they were going to just run the ball up the gut, A and B gap, and get out of there with no injuries. And Mizzou said that they were there to stop the run. Georgia had to throw the ball a little bit to win that game. They had to sustain a couple drives. It was a tough game. But at the same time, I don't think that's going to happen with Ohio State, because you guys had to bring safeties in to stop Michigan's backups with the runs. Now, granted, their backups are great. But what I'm saying is, if you had to bring safeties down to stop those guys in the run, what are you going to have to do to Georgia? You're going to have to bring them safeties down, and then you're going to have to deal with 19 and 84 over the top. We got AD Mitchell coming back. I think that offense is going to be popping. I think we got the diversity to say whatever you want to give, we're going to take it. If you want to give us the runs up the middle, we're going to take it. If you want to give us over the top, we're going to take it. And you guys are going to have a hard time stopping this Georgia offense. On the defensive side, a lot of people like to talk about Kaylee Ringo. A lot of people like to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., but what I want to talk about is the inside, 88, Jalen Carter, here in the college football playoff to prove that he is the best player, not only in college football, but in this NFL draft, and should be drafted #1 overall. You're going to have to deal with him on the inside. What I think is going to happen, despite what you saw against LSU, we're going to man up. 3 and 5, we're going to have to man up on the outside. We're going to play some lockdown defense. You're going to have to. Now, Marvin Harrison's going to win some of those battles. It's just who he is. He's a great receiver. But Kaylee's going to win some of those battles too. And we're going to stop the run with 3 down linemen. I really don't want to see Georgia put 4 down linemen to try to stop the run against Ohio State. I believe you guys are going to be living in 2nd and 8 to 2nd and 11. second and 8, 9, 10, 11, because we're going to be stopping that run on first down. Ohio State's entire offense is predicated off of working off of 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, maybe 2nd and 5, and then taking a deep shot on 2nd down. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to get back some of those yards that you either lost or didn't get on first down on 2nd down. That's making sense. If you watch football, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about watching football for entertainment. We're talking about X's and O's here. If we can stop the run with 3 down linemen and man up on the outside, like I said, regardless of you seeing us zone up against LSU for the whole second half, we're going to man up against this Ohio State offense. So realistic keys to the game for Ohio State, you got to get yards on first down. You got to end up in 2nd and 4, because you cannot be looking at 2nd and 8 or 9 against this Georgia defense. You can't. You just can't. It can't happen. And since we're going to be manned up on the outside, CJ Stroud's going to have some running lanes. That boy's going to have to take off running for some first downs to sustain drives and to make sure that you guys can end up with at least 3 points. You can't come up empty-handed against this Georgia defense. You're going to get eaten up. That's why my prediction for this game falls somewhere in the 34-17, 34-21 type game. Brooks Austin said he had a closer game, kind of high scoring, that Ohio State would score late in to make it close. I kind of think the opposite. I think this is going to be a tough, grinded out game in the first half, and Georgia's going to run away with it with a couple touchdowns in the second half. That's just the kind of game I think we're looking at. Ohio State talent-wise can match up against Georgia pretty much position for position, but overall I think you're going to get outcoached today or Saturday. You are going to get outcoached, and that's what I think it's going to come down to. You guys have tons of NFL talent. I think Ohio State can win a championship in the next couple years, but it's just not going to be this year. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy your new year, and everybody make sure you tune in on Saturday for the Peach Bowl, the game of the year so far, Georgia versus Ohio State. Dogs on top, baby. Let's go.